Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dan Bell from the Hampton Roads Innovation Collaborative. We are a 501c6 not-for-profit that was started in the region back in the late 90s. So we've been around for about 25 years. We are volunteer only, virtual. We don't have office space. We don't have employees. We just work together, collaborate with other groups in the region, focusing on bringing business programs forward, technology, et cetera, to just help our ecosystem grow. I have two colleagues with me. Number one, first introduction is Tim Ryan, Executive Director for StartWheel, and I'll turn the mic over to him in a little bit. And then we have Alan Hagerman, who is a fellow board member, as is Tim, from Hampton Roads Innovation Collaborative. Alan has been working very, very closely with our developer to advance our HR BIZWHEEL web platform, which is powered by StartWheel. It's just an overlay to StartWheel with some additional functionality, etc. So in short order, we'll have Alan guiding us through the web page. And we're going to start at the About page, and we're going to take you through some of the rationale as to why we're doing this. But my comments very briefly before I ask Tim to weigh in. My perspective is that this is all about helping the competitiveness of Hampton Roads. I don't know what the last ranking was. I think we're 37th MSA, which I guess when you think about the number of MSAs out there, it's not so bad. But we always want to do better, and we want to make sure that people are aware of who Hampton Roads is and where we are. And there's lots of stories out there. I've got some firsthand. Some of my friends, others have firsthand experiences where when you tell people where you're from, where you live, you may not say the city, but you may start with the region and say, "Well, I'm in Hampton Roads." And traditionally, in many cases, the response is, "What's that? What's a Hampton Roads?" And but then when you drive and go down and you say we're from, can I ask all participants? Hi, Jolie, how are you? Don't mind seeing you. Nice to meet you, but we're going to turn your camera off. At any rate, the fact of the matter is that people know where Norfolk is, and Virginia Beach, and et cetera, Newport News, places on the peninsula. Sometimes even Suffolk, et cetera, but all too often they miss the whole idea about where Hampton Roads is. So what we're trying to do is improve the competitive nature of Hampton Roads, and part of that is looking at the whole ecosystem, the business ecosystem. So when we look, and Tim's going to talk about StartWheel. StartWheel's been around for years, doing a great job. Initially rather focused on regional calendaring, and then of course startups and letting people know what's going on in the region. Great. Tim and I have only known each other for less than a year. Since January, we started collaborating and talked about what we could do together between StartWheel and Hampton Roads Innovation Collaborative, which I refer to as HRIC. And we talked about expanding what it is that StartWheel does for the region, and we came up with a name, like it or hate it, Hampton Roads or HR BIZWHEEL, and HR BIZWHEEL has a number of things which we'll talk about on the website and the About page. Also up to and including our event December 1st, which is just a couple days from now or 3 days from now at the Hive in Virginia Beach, and these are quarterly events. We alternate between the peninsula and the south side, and we launched this series in September very successfully up at 757 Makerspace in Fort Monroe, and now we're honoring Drone Up in Virginia Beach. We were going to do it at Virginia Beach, but we ran out of room because Drone Up is expanding so rapidly. They really don't have as much space as they used to, free space. So we ended up taking it over to the Hive, and the Virginia Beach team there, economic development, has been very, very supportive and kind to us. And so it's going to be a great event. Hope to see you there. Look at our Facebook site, look at StartWheel, etc. The invitation is there, and the click through for registration. That's all I'm going to say right now before I ask Tim to add to those comments. Tim, mic is yours.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dan. And thank you everyone for joining. Quick overview on StartWheel, what it is, what we're doing, and where we're going is, as Dan alluded to just a moment ago, that it started with a regional calendar and everything has taken off from there. The big thing that really that separates HRIC, StartWheel, apart from a lot of the other awesome activities that are going on is that we look at everything from a regional view first and foremost. So like the whole thought behind the regional calendar was, if I wanted to start a business, if I'm an entrepreneur, and where do I start? Where do I begin? In events is really the key to that. So we consolidate all the different events and bring them into one place so that as an entrepreneur, as an aspiring founder, you can go to one spot and you can see everything that is going on. And that encompasses from Richmond to anywhere across Hampton Roads. What people have to realize from a leadership perspective is the fact that founders just want to be successful. If that means they have to drive an hour to go to an event that's worthwhile, they're going to drive an hour that's worthwhile. As we all know, a lot of things moved over to Zoom over the past couple of years. So a lot of things are hybrid or virtual in nature. But some of the cool things that you can see when you go to our upcoming events is that you can filter by event category, you can filter by organizations. So for example, if you wanted to just find out what virtual stuff that was happening, you could do that. If you wanted to go to what events are the SBDC are having, you can do that. So everything can be filtered the way that you want to filter them, and it's much more customizable. You can see everything that is going to be looking for you. If you're looking for investment opportunities, if you're looking for education opportunities, pitch competitions, whatever the case is, we try to categorize everything so that it can be filtered. The big thing is that everyone is welcome to add their events. If you don't see your events that are on there, it's just because either one, we don't know about it, or two, we don't know about it. So let us know. We want to add everything. But as everything has progressed, we now feature news events. We added a jobs section in the sense of really to help put Hampton Roads on the map in terms of, hey, I want to work with startups, but I don't know how to do it. Or there's not any cool startups that are in the region. We want to paint that picture. So with Drone Up, for example, with 500 plus job openings right now, SVT Robotics, several job openings right now. This is just all a way that we can show the whole picture of everything that's going on. Because if we look at everything from a individual locality or individual organization way, that's only one piece. But when we open up the aperture, we expand out, we can see the whole picture that's taking place. Part of what we've done with that is we had a resource directory. So if you were looking for resources, you can go to the resource directory. If you wanted to list your business so that you could be more discoverable, then that was a way that you could become more discoverable. And we did that from listening to the pain points of the founders, wanting to understand what it is that they needed, what they were asking for. So we started doing that. And that's where Dan and I started working. We started talking in the sense of, we realized that from a bigger level, there was not a place that you can go other than Google to see what businesses are in this area, what capabilities do we have in this area. So unbeknownst to me, HRIC did a little research, checking out what the capabilities of StartWheel had, and then it was determined that StartWheel had a lot of those capabilities with the existing business directory. So we're expanding upon those to create a regional business directory so that businesses are more discoverable. We have a better idea of what our actual footprint is. But there's so many different things that come into play with that, in the sense of, if you wanted a business to partner with because you were responding to an RFP, you could now look for those different capabilities to find out what it is, find a company that you didn't even knew existed before. We'll get into all this as we go on, but that's a little bit about what StartWheel does, how we started, where we're going. We encourage you to get involved, introduce yourself to me, let's get connected. And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here, Dan, so I'll pass it over back to you, and we can banter back and forth.
Well, that's great. Alan, warm up your engines. We're getting ready for it. Tim was spot on. The whole idea here is that we want to be a single business ecosystem portal. As I mentioned earlier, and Tim mentioned startups, yes, but we're expanding the reach to have all business, not just technical, non-technical, not just startups, but small and medium-sized business, as many as we can get. If you look across the country and the world, you'll find city after city, region after region, internationally, looking at their business ecosystem. So just the name, you can Google it yourself, business ecosystems across the United States, across the world. Charlottesville, Chicago, Georgia, Iowa, Kansas City, Long Beach, Maryland, Missouri, Nebraska, New York, Phoenix, San Francisco, South Carolina, Wisconsin. The list goes on and on and on. And some of the links to their systems are, some are better, some are worse, but it's all impressive because they're trying to do what it is that we're trying to accomplish with HR BIZWHEEL. We want to be representative of all business in the region. And the region of Hampton Roads has been challenged over the years with respect to it's a very competitive region, city by city, whether it's the peninsula or south side, the cities within the peninsula or south side. And so the idea here is that we don't think that the approach of everybody representing themselves alone is the right thing to do. And Tim mentioned this. We want to be representative of the entire region. And what we have done is we've provided the funding to get this thing going. We want this to be positioned as an asset to the entire region. Every organization that's out there, whether it's a chamber or cities or various companies, et cetera, anybody that has a focus on the business ecosystem in Hampton Roads can link to us and provide us feedback and help to make it better. So this has been in conversation only since March or April of this year. Tim, correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
But it's only been a matter of months. And we had a very, very solid steering committee, and we got some ideas. We're always talking to businesses, but we put the pedal to the metal. We reached into our pockets and came up with the funding to make this thing happen. So, we're 6 or 8 months in. A significant amount of activity has taken place, and more coming. And so, and Alan will demonstrate. We have a few thousand. We have almost over 3,000 companies listed right now, and we'll talk about the makeup of those companies. But we're also acquiring additional data, importing that data in short order, hopefully within 30 days or so. And so the expectation is that we're going to have 10,000 companies, and it can be anything. We may, and certainly there's going to be the opportunity. There'll be a media campaign. We'll talk about that, where people can enter their own data, or certainly have an identity, log in and correct their own data, refresh their own data. But the whole idea is one-stop shop. So somebody that wants to bring a business into the region, wherever it's from, can research Hampton Roads in its collective state, with everything that all points on the map add to, even from outside the country. So I've spoken enough about it. We have a lot of website activity to go through. So I'll turn it over to Alan, and then when he's done, we can wrap it up with any questions or comments about what we're doing. But I'll leave you with this. This is real. This isn't just talk. This isn't just pie in the sky planning. We took action, we funded, we got it done. It's a work in progress, but it's going to be for a time until we get better. And And as Tim mentioned, we did some side-by-sides between Startwheel and other groups. And the fact is that Startwheel had most of what we were looking for. The cost of going from that to completion is far less than starting from scratch. And so we don't want to see a lot of duplication of efforts and multiple databases if we can avoid it in the region, because it's just going to be wasteful and cause confusion. So with that, Alan, are you ready?
Yeah, can I just jump in real quick, Dan?
Sure.
Just on this page right here that we're looking at, I think some things that stand out that are really impressive to me is, for example, the incubator and co-working spaces. There's already 26 entries that we have for that particular category. Or co-working, we have co-working and rental office. From that standpoint, that's another 17 entries. Educational institutions, 17. So I mean, it's just meetup and networking, 27 entries. So when you start layering all this stuff on top of one another, and we look at things from a holistic point of view, it's really, really impressive. So we're only going to gain more and more visibility with everything that's going on. But when you start to look at everything, there is so many resources for businesses to start, thrive, and grow. And that's what we're looking to focus on. But I just wanted to add that quickly.
And I'm going to just, before I start really getting into the website stuff, I just wanted to go back and touch on both Tim and Dan had touched on our initial process this earlier this year, where we were looking at starting the ecosystem. We actually went out and we compared, about 5 of the ecosystem packages or software applications, as you will, that other people are using, right, that are out there right now and other groups are using. And when we looked at those details, the vast majority of those ended up giving you pretty much just a custom WordPress website that you could add on to and, start putting your data into. And then they had various amounts of help that they would provide you in generating some of that initial data that's going to go in there and populate your WordPress site. So when we were looking at that, we were like, Startwheel is also has got a working WordPress site. It's already functional. It's already pre-populated. It just really seemed like a no-brainer to partner with Tim and Startwheel and expand this, because they have that vision and we were trying to expand on it. And it just made more sense to layer on top of Startwheel and avoid the duplication. If we were to go out and buy one of these other sites, we would have ended up just duplicating all the stuff that Startwheel had, and that just didn't make any sense. So Tim's been a great partner to work with and has made himself and his staff readily available to help us on this project. And so we're moving forward with it. And there's issues that we still are trying to get wrapped up with the rolling in.
This is one of the things you categorize this like MVP plus.
We're getting there. We're working through all the processes. Importing data that we're doing is a lot of elbow grease. We have to bring this data, we have to get the data, we have to massage it, we have to then see, do we already have, here's a list of 10,000 companies. Out of those, how many are already in our directory? So we need to, fill those out. Then you have to get into, well, who has the most current information about that company? It doesn't do me any good if I have the company in our database, but we have older data, we need to update it. So, there's a lot of processes. And then there's even just architectural, there's just challenges with getting the WordPress site rolling. For example, Tim was pointing out counts here earlier on this. This is the Startwheel directory, by the way. And when you look here at the diversity, equity, inclusion, minority, it's only showing 3 counts. We actually have to get the counts regenerated on this page, because when you go into that particular folder, we actually have, as you can see from the subcategories, way more entries in there. This category alone has, I think, 3,000 or so entries. And some of these overlap, right? There's, women owned and Black owned, economically division owned, but these are all subcategories that you can go into. So if you're just interested in this, you can go in and see that we have a bunch of companies that have been identified as Black owned by based on federal contracts and the federal data, which we'll talk about later. So we have, I think right now we're probably pushing 4,000 entries in this database, in the Startwheel directory that's searchable and reviewable.
And
So
really,
it's really
to add on to that quickly, Alan, I'm sorry
Yep.
to step on
yeah,
you,
no
but
worries.
I mean, so this is really coming off of the heels of Mighty Dream and what happened there. I mean, there's great momentum with what Pharrell and his team has been able to do. So when we look to expand this resource directory, this business directory, this is a great way to continue the momentum that we have. So we started with the DE&I companies, and so when you look at these totals here, these are all going to change as we go through and massage all the data that we have in the DE&I subcategories. So last point onto that is this is a great way for us to see actual data. And like one, for example, that comes to mind is the hemp industry. That's something that's going to be changing rapidly as things progress. So we'll be able to identify the next pillars or business categories that are on the rise, so that when it comes to investing as a region, what we need to do, we'll have data in terms of these particular categories had a X percentage increase. This is where we need to focus on and double down, because we'll have,
and we have 100 or more sources that we have to go to start getting the data in. Green, clean energy, environmental. This category is going to just explode with all the offshore wind activity happening in Virginia Beach. And all the additional environmental opportunities that are growing here in the area. So we really expect this to, as we get time and energy, of course, to get all this stuff in. Another category that we've added recently that's pretty good is the veteran one. We have 1,300 veteran-owned companies. That's a big issue in this particular area as well. It's a big area people are interested in. And so we have all these companies as well in the directory. Tim, was there anything on the Startwheel side? You were talking about Startwheel earlier. I had that up here. Was there anything else in particular? I know you mentioned news. We went and did that. The news and the resources and events, I think, are the big three.
Yeah, I mean, to sum everything up, we do have a weekly newsletter. I encourage everybody to subscribe to it. So the way that the newsletter works, it goes out every Tuesday morning, and there's three main portions of that newsletter. It encompasses all of the news that happened the previous week. It focuses on all the events that are happening the current week. And then we have our weekly podcast, the Fervent Four Show, which we highlight a business and a founder every week to serve as a platform for that business and founder to talk about themselves and their business in terms to showcase what is happening in this area. And that is really serve the founders well. It is their platform. They're able to use that. It's evergreen material. We give them copies and they can use it and pass it on to whoever they wish. But I mean, really what we're able to do here within Startwheel is there's been a lot of people across the state and beyond that ask us, what is Startwheel doing? What is the secret sauce? Why are you so successful? And really what it comes down to is we're solving pain points for the businesses and the founders. So rather than buy something that's off the shelf that we're trying to wedge into someplace that doesn't fit and it's more costly, we have a startup mindset as well. So we start with the pain points from the founders and we start from there. We continue to build everything out. But encourage you all to subscribe to the newsletter. It's a very quick read, but those are the three parts of, and then we have the jobs component as well. But that's about everything, Alan.
Well, that's it's good overview, Alan. If I may,
okay.
Let me ask you to go to the About page just for a launch point. And
okay.
so everybody remember that that Startwheel is out there doing its normal Startwheel business, and hrbizwheel.com is simply an overlay page to pick up some of the additional things that we wanted it to do. Again, powered by Startwheel, says so right in the logo. So the About page really has just some of the highlighted areas. And again, I encourage you all to read this in more detail. And we've been talking about this thus far, enhanced web portal functionality and supportive programs. So again, there's been discussion about, well, a database. We're not just a database. This is an all-encompassing suite of programs that has a database, an enhanced web portal, and supportive programs, which we'll talk about. So we have the web portal, we have the increased data that we've spent a lot of time talking about. Related to the data, if this works and we can rely on some of the data that's been populated, our intention is to do some aggregate reporting about what's going on in the region from a business perspective. How many business starts have we had? How many closures have we had? What are the employee counts? What are the potential revenue of people? Companies share that information, not just city by city, but aggregate information. And of course, anytime you do something like that, you have to have established guardrails to make sure that we're not stepping on anybody's toes. And we will plan to do that. We'll have, if you can scroll down a little bit, Alan, we'll have, and not in any particular order, business showcases. Actually, that's right, business showcases. So what Tim just spoke about with the Fervent 4 show is in fact a business showcase. We're going to follow suit, but it's going to be just a bit of a twist on that. So our vision is that participating organizations will be able to create a commercial to be determined in terms of length of segment, 3-4 minutes type of thing, video. And we're just going to have a library of various videos where companies are able to essentially promote themselves and link through to contact information and all that. So once again, if somebody is looking for a company to do something, let's just say cybersecurity, if somebody from anywhere in the country is looking for cybersecurity firms in Hampton Roads, they'll be able to click through and find it. And they can see an array of videos for various cybersecurity companies in the region, learn a bit more about them, and then click through, or multiple ones. So business showcases are coming. Media campaigning. We certainly want to make sure that we're spreading the word. So our plan is to have a print campaign on the pilot and inside business, social media campaigning. We'll make sure that we're trying to spread the word as much as possible, as broadly as we can spread it. I mentioned before I talk about that, we'll capturing the voice of business. Again, that's just an opportunity, could be renamed. We don't want to be cliche about it. I think that term has been used a lot. But essentially, we want a feedback portal. We want people to let us know. They can call Tim or I directly, or they can put in potentially a contact form. This is coming. There's lots of stuff coming in terms of the development of this site and these business programs. But we want to hear more from people. What's working? What isn't working? We want to continue. We want a continuous improvement vector and get feedback toward doing that. We mentioned BIZWHEEL Quarterly. Again, we had a very successful launch in Q3. We anticipate a very successful launch December 1st this week over at the Hive in Virginia Beach, honoring Jonah. We're going to have nearly 100 people there, and it should be a great program. And then I don't want to say where yet. We're still working on that. Big surprise, but again, we're going to alternate this. We went Peninsula in Q3, Southside Q4. We're going to go back onto the Peninsula, and we're hoping to release that information at the conclusion of the December 1st event later this week. So take the time to if you could scroll down a little bit more, Alan. We know that we have to set goals, et cetera, but you can see the types of things that we're trying to accomplish, and we've spoken to that. We want to be a single, most effective business ecosystem for Hampton Roads, not just tech, but non-tech as well, not just startup, but startup, small, medium. And we want to be able to showcase, and we want to be able to make sure that everybody has access to what's going on in Hampton Roads. That's all I've got to say. And unless you've got any other comments, we'll let Alan take us through the website.
No, everyone's welcome. I mean, it takes all of us. It's really, really exciting to see everything that's going on. We just have our toes in the water right now. So to see when you really are able to see everything from that macro level, it's really, really impressive. It's really, really exciting. We're just getting started. Everyone is welcome. We'll go over how to ensure that your organization is on the business directory, how to get involved, but it takes all of us, and our best days are ahead. I'm super excited.
All right. Well, when you go to hrbizwheel.com or hrbizwheels.org, you're going to end up here on the home page. And it's just pretty much the front page of Startwheel. We just reformatted things a little bit differently and started and feature our big upcoming event, the quarterly. So there's nothing really special here. It's just a reformatted BIZWHEEL or Startwheel front page. The directory is also, pretty much just a shell for the Startwheel directory. We wanted to feature some categories. We'll probably end up reformatting this page and figuring out a better way of highlighting some categories that are, more interest to companies looking to maybe relocate or to grow here. So that's really going to be a formatting issue, but this is the Startwheel directory. So you can search that. You can search by keywords, so we could do funding, for example. Hope it doesn't blow up. We'll try it and see. And look at that. And so there's some funding. We had 35 entries that had funding in a keyword or the name or write-up. And you can scroll through these particular, oh, look at that, Arcform, what a great company. And so, you can look down here, Ferguson Ventures, a little write-up about them. If we have address information, you'll see a little map as to where they're located. And so this is all the details about companies. Some entries don't have all the details. We're in the process of getting those added. It depends on the source of the company and the entry. We wanted to at least get the companies in because at least, at a minimum, you can just Google it if you needed to get the detailed information. So that's the business directory, and we were looking at, we have categories. This is once again all the same categories that are on the BIZWHEEL site. And then if there's a plus sign after the name, that means that there's other categories underneath that. So health and medical has healthcare consultants and healthcare professionals. And, we'll be working on the formatting. The formatting worked when there was a sort of limited number of companies in here, but as we're now expanding this into thousands of companies, we've got to come up with a little better formatting to make that information easier to access. So we're working on that, but it's all there at the moment available to you for looking into and searching. And you can just browse by category. And then if you needed to go to the Startwheel directory, you could just click and that'll take you to the Startwheel directory. And so this was the BIZWHEEL directory. When we do on our events page, this is just really the Startwheel events as well. And it was just a convenient place to have it just takes you to the Startwheel event page. Why Hampton Roads? This is an area that we are expanding, and we expect this to really grow as we start gathering more data. There's a lot of organizations in the region that have bits and pieces of information that are at a regional focus. And so we're trying to start to pull that information together in Hampton Roads so that, there's one place that somebody can go to find links to other great resources about the region. So for example, there's this Hampton Roads community dashboard that we had come up with, or that's out there. And I don't see a lot of it on social media. I'm not sure how many people use it, but they've got some data and access to lots of different data about our region. This is, of course, all third-party maintained, but it's something somebody can browse through and look at census data and other economic data about the region. This particular website is really health-oriented. It's sponsored by Centera and the United Way, so it's really concerned with the health of the community. but it still was a community focus, if you will. So this is an area where we'll be definitely expanding. We want to look at maybe partnering with some other organizations who are, have data and have information that we can either, link to something on their site to get that information, or we can incorporate information into BIZWHEEL. So we really expect this to be growing, not as much as the directory will, of course, but it'll still be expanding as we grow this opportunity to make the region
Alan,
better.
could I ask you, I think it's linked to the directory, but we've talked about all the resources we have in Hampton Roads, and there are resources everywhere. Cities have them, universities have them, chambers have them, etc. And we're not choosing to ignore that aspect of our region. Quite the opposite. We're trying to get our arms around it and have a one-stop shop where people can branch off to find what kind of resources that are out there. Can you show us any of those as just a couple examples?
Well, I mean, we have in the directory, we have Chamber of Commerce's, which are all the various links to all the regional Chamber of Commerce's. Hampton Roads, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So there's the Chamber of Commerce pieces in there, and under government, I'm trying to remember where we put the we're moving
Economic
things
Development
around.
Office.
Yeah, economic. Where's that? Oh, there you go. Economic development. 25 entries there.
Yep.
And so these are not just the cities, but companies that are and entities that are looking at promoting economic development in the area.
And how about universities? We talked about academia, and there's lots of research.
We have some of those. We actually have on our list to really expand this educational group. Things that there's a lot of for commercial universities, if you will. The community colleges are in here, or of course our local places. But we're looking at, there's plenty of other trainings, like ECPI and other community college and the for-profit colleges that do a lot of workforce training. And so we'll be getting those into here as well.
Mm-hmm. And so, as Alan mentioned earlier, one can go off and Google to their heart's content to try to find everything that's going on in our region. More often than not, they may come up with something that happens in cities. With some exceptions, but we're trying to make sure that everything that's happening in the region, to the best that we can get our arms around it, is represented here. And so as this grows, and again, there's feedback opportunities. If something's missing, we want to put it in. Sorry, Alan, please continue.
Oh, that's quite all right. So that's, so the Why Hampton Roads is not really the directory data. This is going to be all the other information about the region that people might want to look at. There's the cities are always touting, safe cities, or like the grants that they win for like the clean energy and the offshore development in Virginia Beach. So there's going to be a lot of reasons to promote the region, and we want to make sure we kind of grab those together. The Hampton Roads Alliance, which we've linked to here, they have a lot of information on their website, why somebody should move or live or bring your business to Hampton Roads. Everything from employee wellness and the quality of living now for your employees. That's a big deal in the current world. And so we want to make sure all those things are here on this page. Was there anything else on the BIZWHEEL side? If not, I'll go show some of the other resources that we're starting to pull data from.
Maybe if you could show us a little bit more in-depth view of the events.
Well, okay.
And that's of course what StartWheel has been doing forever, but take a look at this for everybody.
Well, so this first one is just a page about our upcoming event this week. And there's a link to the flyer with all the wonderful participating organizations that are supporting the event. And so that particular link there was just to our upcoming featured event. And then this is the StartWheel event calendar. And as you can see, we actually ended up going over to StartWheel. And so this is the, Tim, you have any featured events in there? I don't know if we do or not.
Um,
Oh, Fervent Four Show. That's a featured event.
I've heard of that.
Absolutely. I've heard of that. It's a great podcast if you don't listen to it. And he didn't pay me to say that.
And so Alan, nobody should be concerned about, well, am I going to BIZWHEEL? Am I going to StartWheel? Am I getting lost? They're really integrated, right?
They're totally integrated. There's only one database. It doesn't matter which side you're on. You're searching the same data. And in many cases, the BIZWHEEL side is going to bring you to the StartWheel side so you can have the full information list.
So if somebody went to startwheel.com, you're going to see an HR BIZWHEEL logo and link that can take you there. And from hrbizwheel.com, you can drop right into StartWheel anyway.
Right.
And so it's all integrated.
Because we're right on top of StartWheel. So everything underneath the table is StartWheel. And then we're just having some opportunities to put on top of that things that are really BIZWHEEL regional oriented. But these are all the upcoming, so these were all the SBDC categories. Do I need the line for events there? Geez, Tim, you said SBDC earlier, so I thought I would just go and search for that. But anyway, so this is just the event calendar. People can look through it. Tim does a great job. These come in from not only things that people suggest, but also Eventbrite. And I'm not sure what other places are these consolidated from.
Yeah, it's a heavy lift. So if you scroll over the events up in the top menu, then people can submit their own.
Right.
So you can list an event that just takes you through an online form that gets routed to us, and then we'll add it to the calendar. But we get events from many different places, and it's a heavy lift to keep everything updated.
That it is. And Tim, you do such a great job as well telling the story about our region with respect to what's going on with our small business.
The perfect case in point, Dan, is the fact that so like if you look at there's back-to-back SBDC events. Before, back in the day, there would be like one event a week at best, and now we're featuring 50 plus events every single month. So it's a great way to gauge where am I going to get the best bang for my buck in terms of, because I mean, everyone's busy, everyone wants to run a successful business. And if you're attending nothing but networking events and different events, then, when are you working on your business? So this is a great way to see everything that is happening. But for those event planners, I tell everybody, if you're planning an event, bounce it off of the StartWheel calendar so that you don't inadvertently duplicate or schedule something on top of something else, because then we want to create a network density effect so that everybody is at the same events. That's where the magic happens, in addition to the content of the event itself. But when you schedule something on top of another event, it's the reverse effect, in the sense that now we're forcing a dilution to happen, and that's exactly what we do not want to have happen. We want to create that network density.
And in addition to that, I mean, when we talk about a business ecosystem, what we want to show is that Hampton Roads has a healthy, vibrant, active business ecosystem. And so when somebody comes to the pages, they can see what's happening. They can see, oh, wow, there's a lot going on in Hampton Roads. Check this out or check that out. Maybe not everything is perfect for them, but maybe some of what they see is perfect for them. So the whole idea to amalgamate all this stuff and show this stuff in one place, not just city by city, but by the region, is how we think, in part, the word will spread about the vibrancy of the Hampton Roads business ecosystem. So, Alan, are you available?
I am.
All right, sir. Please continue.
So are we ready to take a look at the federal data?
Yeah, I think so.
We're running a little low on time.
Yeah, we're doing okay. So this is real exciting, and so this was our place to start. with some of the incremental features that we're linking to off HR BizWheel and StartWheel. And so we are working with a partner. We're in negotiations. We're not sure how that's going to work, whether it's subscription based or not, but the power of this system is pretty impressive, and Alan's going to show it to us right now.
So this particular data, this is where our DEI data came from, our minority-owned data, and we are, as Dan said, working on how to better partner with this organization and get this data available to us in our. Oh, my camera is like way off. Sorry about that. You just seem a talking head, literally. And so this is federal data. And it is an amazing collection of federal data. This particular company goes out and extracts tons of information about federal contracts that are being issued and awarded, and summarizing that by the companies that are winning those awards. And I'm apologizing for that camera. It is still just a talking head. And so it's just really phenomenal amounts of data that are out there, and we're trying to figure out how can we get this into our directory efficiently and keep it updated as we move forward. But so this is the site that we were using, and we're also looking at how do we search this data. And so I'll just show some of the opportunities. So these were. If you were interested in a federal contract, for example, you can come here and look through. These are just the recently posted contracts. And you can, of course, filter by all these different opportunities, depending on what your business is looking to. So this website is amazing if you are interested in doing federal business, right? If that's the space you're in, this is really going to be a great opportunity to access this data. There are, for state contracts, I think I only saw California. Yeah, so that doesn't do us a whole lot of good there. If you're interested in grants, they have all these different types of grants available, and you can look at them by different types. And these, of course, are all the active ones. And it's going to explain a little bit about the grant and what it's doing, and U.S. mission to mail from the Department of State. All right, and here's information about the grant. And so you can sort of look for opportunities to get, some free money, basically, right, from the grants. The small business. If you're a small business and you're looking for opportunities, these are opportunities for small businesses that are in the department that's coming out of and how it's getting provided. So once again, just tons of information. 477.
And real quick, the SIBR and SITR CALA tab here, I mean, that's really, it's super valuable, especially as a region with us having so many engineers, so many scientists that are working on really technical things. So we'll be able to pull all the data of all the recent challenges, opportunities that are in place. So now we have an opportunity that we can go after some non-dilutive funding. A lot of times, though, to become more competitive, you need to team with other organizations. So now we have a place where we're going to be able to pull opportunity. Then we're going to see what is going to be needed. And now we're going to be able to search the different companies within our local business directory so that we can contact with them to create partnership and teaming agreements so that we can put in a more competitive proposal. And then fast forwarding, once we win these different opportunities, then we can look to see who the most recent recipients are. So then we can showcase the wins that we have as a region. So this is a whole cyclical process in nature so that we can continue to grow, expand, and recognize and market our region for all the great things that are happening. So, I mean, this is really important stuff here.
Yeah, and I think this line that they have at the top of the page really highlights that, these are needs of the federal government that are going to provide you with non-dilutive capital to solve problems. I mean, that's a win when you're a small business. So these are just, some needs, if there's some challenges out there. So these are all organizations issuing challenges to for people to look at, and this is a great opportunity again to partner to showcase what you can do. And so these are all, this whole section was under, under these opportunities for individuals. And then for Tech Accelerator, so this is opportunities to work with companies that have technology that they are looking to license or partner with. And so, they may have, instead of trying to be a company and reinventing the wheel, it may be a better opportunity to go out and license a particular technology and get out the door. And so these are opportunities, and you can actually look at the technology that they are hosting and get more information about that technology, and maybe even reach out and talk to them about, is it a fit or not.
Right. Just to expand on that just a little bit. So we have NASA, Jefferson Lab, all have technology transfer offices. So these are all opportunities that can be leveraged, that you can license. And this is a way to make that linkage happen so that we can establish that communication so that you can leverage the different technologies that are available.
So Marketplace is more of a sort of generic, it's similar to the directory that we have, but it's not, the searching here isn't really by a region very well. You can search by name or a category. So for example, if I wanted to find all the, if I spell Norfolk right, I wanted to find all the companies, in Virginia that have Norfolk in the name, we can do that. Or if you knew part of the name of a company, you can look for all that and see this information. If there's, information about it. But the nice thing about this as well is when you find a company and you want to, and you click on the name, now it brings up a summary of that company. I should pick Norfolk Southern, so it probably has a huge amount of data. I should probably pick Norfolk Wire. But it's going to bring up all the information about that company and keywords, mining technology, huh? Okay, that's interesting. Probably because of the carrying coal, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's contacts, and then it's going to show you. So it's the information about the company itself. Somehow I don't think that this Norfolk Southern, I don't know if it was founded in 2001. I think that was maybe a little bit earlier than that. But they bring up the federal profile as well. So they'll go out to, and it shows you here, the sam.gov website. And so it actually brings back information about that business. So if you're in the federal business and you want to know, is this company maybe somebody I want to partner with, you can go and see, have they actually won any awards? Have they been successful in partnering or on federal contracts? And so this would be, it's a great information about that company. A lot of companies we found are listed in the federal government. They've registered, but they haven't actually won anything yet. So maybe they don't have the level of experience that you would like. When we were looking at the DEI data, we went and pulled the socioeconomic analyzer. This is the area where we went in to look at some of these other organizations we wanted to partner with. So for example, you can read, all these small business companies, veteran-owned, service-disabled veteran-owned business, North American-owned, Native American-owned businesses, Hispanic, Black, Asian Pacific, and minority-owned. And of course, then when you come into either one of any of these categories, come on, the scrolls are not running very fast this morning or this afternoon.
Parsing
Drop
through
some
a
quarters
lot of
in there.
data.
More quarters.
More quarters. All right. So this will come back and this shows you, just because you're in Virginia doesn't mean you're necessarily only doing business here. And so you can sort by state, and then within the state, like we'll go to Virginia. And now these are all the businesses. And now this is all based on information that they registered with the federal government of their locations. So we can do by city, and we come down here and look in Norfolk, and There we go. We have 293 minority-owned businesses in Norfolk that have done federal work. And now here's the list of all the companies. And it's showing you, this is sort of a summary page. So it's showing you the name of the company and what they've been awarded throughout the, for the most recent awards. And so we can actually see last year how they do. We can sort by that. And we can see that the biggest winner was Turner Strategic Technologies. And last year they won $39 million worth of federal business. So not bad. That might be a company I want to partner with. And then, of course, once again, if you click on the name, you're going to eventually, once again, I picked the big company that had all the winnings. But we'll be able to take a better look at that company and see how did they win. Oh, look at this. Not a whole lot of information about them other than a location and a website.
Well, they're busy counting their money.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want anybody showing up to see that pile of cash, right? And so there's these, here's all the federal profile, and of course the NAICS codes if they're registered under different companies. And so you can see that information about that company. So this was a great way to pull our DEI data. We literally went in here and, we literally worked with the company to extract all of these companies that were showing up under minority owned, Native American owned, all those different categories. And those are the companies that are actually in the Startwheel directory at the moment.
Good stuff.
And yeah, so that's actually there. And so we're actually working with them. We will be pulling more detailed information about each company. We're going to be pulling more companies as we pull them out of the different categories. I guess that's really all that. Is there anything I missed there, Dan, that you'd like to see?
Alan, let's go back to Startwheel and
Okay.
I'll ask you and Tim, is there a jobs section?
There is.
How about that?
There's more listings. So there is a job section. There's a place to list those jobs. And of course, this doesn't, this is just people listing with Startwheel, I believe, directly, right, Tim? You're not importing from Dice or
Correct.
Monster or any of those other
Right.
places as well.
Correct.
And
so it's a great way to get rid of that noise because,
Yeah.
having been a job searcher and not Monster and Dice, in the recent years, man, there's just so much noise with those groups.
Right. And the podcast, Tim, is that primarily Fervent 4?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so you can see as sponsorships, as your traditional, sponsorships for, companies that are backing Startwheel organizationally, and just like HRIC has its sponsors, and there's probably some crossover there. So you can see by definition what we're trying to do both with Startwheel and with HR BIZWHEEL, which again is an integrated layer. We're trying to provide resources to those companies that are in search of a resource that can help them grow and develop. We are providing information to the viewers from outside the region to find out more about Hampton Roads and about the companies that are in it and the functionality, and again, the vibrancy and connectivity of our regional ecosystem. As I pointed out before, this is a resource that's available to everyone. I think Tim mentioned it as well, if not all three of us. This is available to you. We funded it. We're developing it. We're expanding it. Our work is not done. We've only been at it for a little while, but the amount of progress that we've made in just such a short period of time, in my opinion, is pretty phenomenal. So this will continue to develop. We want as many people supportive of it and connecting to it as possible. This is our regional business ecosystem. It's not HRICs, it's not Startwheels, it's Hampton Roads. And this resource is available to everybody in it. And I will say at no charge. Now, down the road, there might be some additional features and functionalities that people want to take advantage of. Well, that might be fee-based, but But that is, promotion and media campaigning and things of that nature. But that's different. That's supplemental activity that we have on our radar. But as far as this system being available to any and all comers, it's there for you and free of charge. Is there?
And if there are any features that you would like to see, please let us know. We're open to that as well.
Yeah, right now I think it's just, I think the contact page has Tim and I, and I think that will be expanded somehow to, whether it's a forum to capture ideas or what have you. So that's on our radar, as is a ton of things on our radar, but it's a work in progress. Question just came in. Hi, Katina. To talk about the MSA. MSA is a metropolitan statistical area, and there are hundreds of MSAs across the United States. They're oftentimes based on population, and of course you'll see that in large cities around the United States. We are ranked 37. There's been discussion over years now as to whether or not we would want to become a super region by blending or merging MSA, if you will, by the Office of Management and Statistics, a federal entity, with Richmond. So Richmond's got more corporate headquarters than we do. We got the port. We got some high-speed data lines coming in from the ocean, and we now have the Coastal Virginia Commerce Park that's coming along at the old Williams Farm in Chesapeake, which is right down at the border, which is going to be 1,400 acres originally, phase one, with 4,000 total acres to be developed. Fantastic opportunity. That's a super mega development opportunity for the region, because it's not just about Chesapeake, it's about the region. It's and about the state. And so when you think about the types of companies that might come in, and just a quick aside into this, and then we'll talk about what happens when all this congeals and takes effect. There are companies that have come in and said, well, and I can't name the companies because frankly I don't know them, but we need to build this thing, and we're interested in building a plant. This is all industrial. There's no residential. This is all industrial. We're interested in building a plant here because it's got the space that we're looking for. You can't have rail coming in. Why can't we have rail coming in? Says the Chesapeake Economic Development people. Because of the vibration. Their equipment, et cetera, is so sensitive that any kind of vibration to that magnitude would throw things off. So not to say that was the region, but there's no rail coming into to the park. So the MSA is basically about population, what drives population, business growth, adjunct residential growth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that just helps the economic prosperity in the region, which is why we've been talking for years about raising our MSA ranking within the United States. It has not been done in the number of years that I've been here in Hampton Roads. That's an uphill climb, but making sure that we have a regional business ecosystem, a vibrant one in place, portal that takes you to it so that anybody around the world can learn more about this region to either build their business or move their business here. That's what we're all about. Any other questions?
Katrina also asked how to get a business included in the directory.
Yep.
And I have it on the screen here. Katrina, there's well, now it's not going to let me select it because it's already selected, but there's under resources, there's a list a resource option. And this is a lot of fields. It's most of the fields that we track internally. Only the things with the little red asterisk are required. And so it's, your name and an email address so that we can get in touch with you. And then there's a title, which is your company name, and then like what you want to put for the write-up. And then, there's all the different categories that we have to offer. If you want to click one or two, the ones you think are the key categories for the company. And then in the end, you can submit it. And You do have to enter a street address. This is the address section here. And when you do generate on the map, it'll show you where that came up at, and you can submit it. And then that will put it in a pending status, and we'll verify it and add it to the directory. Or if they want to go and I'm sure you can email us as well.
Yep. We'll
Whichever's
review
easiest.
everything and then it'll be live. The big thing, obviously the address is required because we want to make sure that we are only focused on Hampton Roads, the region businesses. We're not looking for anyone to take advantage from the other 49 states. We want to make sure that they're local.
Exactly right. We are at a few minutes after 1. Tim and Alan, is there anything else you'd like to add to what has already been discussed?
I think it's exciting. It's a great project to be part of, and I'm certainly enjoying working with everybody on this. There is just so much that we can add to this that's already on our plate. You know, this will be growing, you know, easily through most of 2023, you know, as we work all this data in. And we're always looking for sources, you know,
so many possibilities. Very, very exciting.
Absolutely.
We're just scratching the surface.
Yep.
Well, very good. I want to thank the team. Thanks to Alan for demoing the system. Tim, as always, thanks for your feedback and comments. I think the team is, as I mentioned before, come together in a very short period of time, and we hit the ground running with knowledge based on conversations with businesses. I've got years of talking to businesses about what they're looking for, and you know, I mean, you can talk about, well, how's the city doing for you? Well, it's hit or miss. Some cities are doing better than others. How's the state doing for you? Some say great, some say not so great. How are the universities doing? The same drill. Well, some say great, some say not great. So it all depends, not putting anybody under the bus. There's a lot of great things happening, and it depends on what you're looking for. But one thing that almost every business I have spoken with said is, we need introductions. We need to help build our business. We need to be able to get in front of some of the purchasers from organizations within the region and around the country, and that's in part what we're going to do. So unless we have any other questions from the crowd, we're gonna call victory on this session. I thank everybody for participating. We'll send out the link. This is recorded. That link will probably be positioned on our About page as well, if somebody wants to take the time to view an hour next minute session. But thanks to everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day and week, and I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. We're all back to the salt mines now.
All right. Have a good day.
All right,
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.